Hello, vinyl community. Bradley here. I'll move the camera up a little. That's the rain chant in the background. I'm just going to show a couple record store day pickups I made the other day. I did not have too many things that I wanted, and basically I got them. Little background, last year I arrived, I think it was 10 o'clock at Wood Nickel in Fort Wayne, and basically by that time I just walked in. There was no line. This year I went an hour earlier at 9 o'clock. There was a line still. I think they opened at 8 o'clock, I believe. There was probably 60 people in front of me. So it took like half an hour to get into the store. The manager of the store, Tim, he was the doorman, so he's a good guy. Talked to him a little bit. It was questionable whether I would even make Record Store Day this year. My mother just had her 90th birthday a couple weeks ago. Well, she went in the hospital the other day. Nothing serious, but they kept her for a few days, so she was going to be released on Saturday sometime. So I told her, I said, well, you know, you're just going to have to sit there, you know, because I'm going over to Record Store Day. No, I didn't. But it worked out good because she was released in the afternoon, so I picked her up then. Like I said, I just had basically 2 albums, and both of those started with W. At Wood Nickel, they have the records in boxes alphabetically. So they had maybe, I don't know, 10 or 11, 12 boxes, you know, filled with Record Store Day releases. So the W's were at the very end. So here I am going through, and I'm picking out a few just in case they don't have the ones I want at the very end. Kind of unhandy, but hey, that's the way it is. So I was going through the line. I think I did pick out kind of like a folk festival in Newport. I thought, well, I'll pull that out. And I think I pulled out Sly and the Family Stone at Woodstock. But what I really wanted was the Woodstock album, which I did get. So I ended up putting those other 2 back in the box. Woodstock, the original soundtrack, 3-record set. This is mono from the PA mix, whatever. I never had Woodstock. Friends always had it, so I had no reason to buy them. And of course, it is a 3-record set. It's a piece of history. I just had to get it. I think I bought the Woodstock film last year through iTunes, so I have that. Now, last year, Record Store Day, I bought Monterey Pop Festival, a double album. I'm kind of into them festival soundtracks, or yeah, soundtracks, I guess, whatever. So, yeah, Woodstock. What can I say? It's great. Now the other album, also a W album. Like I said, these were in the last box. So, and I saw this on the release, pre-release. I thought, boy, this looks really interesting. It is Toni Jo White, live at Austin City Limits, the TV show. Back in 1981. I think this was actually released in the early 2000s. Um, it is a 2-album set, although they only have music on 3 sides. The 4th side is blank, and it's got, there you can maybe see some etching. Those are Alligators. Toni Jo White. Very nice. This album sounds really, really good. The sound, it was recorded very nicely. And on this album, like I said, Toni Jo White, Poke Salad Annie, you know, that's basically the only song I really knew. His style is what we call, whatever, swamp, bayou rock, with a little bit of cowboy music in this. The group is just a 3-piece group. You got bass, drums, and Toni Jo plays a Fender Tele, along with, he has a harmonica holder, and he does the vocals. The bass and drums, very simple, you know, nothing fancy. They just set the groove. And Toni Jo, basically his guitar playing, I would say I would compare it to John Fogerty of CCR, because John could play. He didn't really need another rhythm guitarist, actually. He could have done it all by himself, which is what Toni Jo does on this album. And also, well, I was familiar with Poke Salad Annie, and another song I did not know that Toni Jo White wrote, which was one of my favorites of all time, Brooke Benton, Rainy Night in Georgia. Well, Toni Jo wrote that song. So he does that on this album. Amazing for a 3-piece group. He just plays guitar. Sounds fantastic. He's a very good songwriter. He's got a really, really deep voice, you know. Poke Salad Annie. And his songs are very funny. The lyrics are fantastic. And he throws in 1 or 2 kind of like cowboy songs. Excellent. I'm really glad I picked this up. So that was my complete haul. Actually, I guess I got 4.5 records. Because Woodstock was 3 and Toni Jo was 1.5. So that's what I wanted, and that's what I got. So very enjoyable record store day this year. I talked my cousin down in Louisville to go to his first one down Louisville, which he had, I think, 3 or 4 stores he could pick from. So we were kind of texting while we were waiting in line with each other. So anyhow, that's my RSD for 2019. So catch you later. See ya.